What's going on, guys? Jacob Doodle here. Welcome to the second Canucks news you might have missed. What? Elliotte Friedman. How could you this morning? All right, so Elliotte Friedman once again is getting everybody in Vancouver talking. We have some brand new Quinn Hughes trade updates. And honestly, guys, it's just nonstop right now. There's more and more noise with every single day that goes by. By the way, myself and this man right here, Canucks News Summaries, his name is Corey. We went out and we did a video. I just posted it a little bit ago before this Elliotte Friedman news update just dropped. Go check that out after you watch this video. We go real into deep on Quinn Hughes, what he's worth, and we have a really awesome conversation. Also, give Canucks News Summary a follow on Twitter if you haven't already. And there's a lot here to uncover. So this is Elliotte Friedman, probably the best insider in the business. I am a sucker for Rick Dhaliwal, though he's amazing too. So, New Jersey Devils asked around who was active and was told that the Devils were. They are dollar in, dollar out. Need to find other deals to clear their cap room. Suspects they're trying to clear cap space. Looking to move a player or two. Believes Ryan O'Reilly is a legitimate target of theirs. Predators have promised O'Reilly that they'll treat it like he has a no movement clause. Has heard Steven Stamkos linked to the Devils in the past. So the only thing of note there with Canucks potentially related is that they're active and dollar in, dollar out if you're going to make a deal with the New Jersey Devils. But we talked about that a little bit already. Now, let's get to the fun stuff. Quinn Hughes. People around the league don't want to talk about Quinn Hughes because it's such a hand grenade. Mentions how Hughes calls Tom Fitzgerald Fitzy. Yeah, that was a really interesting part of it as well. When we covered it as well. It is kind of interesting, but there are some ties with Tom Fitzgerald and Quinn Hughes. We mentioned it in our other video, so go check that. There was a conversation between the Canucks and the Devils about him. Once the memo was sent out, the conversation was about where everything stands and where it was going. So they had that conversation. But now the juicy stuff. Believes that the Vancouver Canucks and the Detroit Red Wings have discussed him as well. Now, that's pretty obvious. You would think that the Canucks and Red Wings had a conversation. But what's interesting about this is if Detroit goes and gets Quinn Hughes, you're thinking more of a potential sign and trade. But they can't do that right now. They can only go and kind of gamble that he will sign after. So Detroit Red Wings almost makes more sense to trade to if it's going to be in the offseason. So if they go out and do it now, they have to have pretty decent reassurance in their head that they're going to be able to re-sign Quinn Hughes. Very interesting. Canucks have refused to discuss him with Friedman, so the Canucks want no part of that whatsoever, which is pretty funny. There are talks going on around Hughes, and it's difficult to figure out how long a trade, how long it's going to go and where. So the news there with Detroit Red Wings. Now, what do they have there? So they have Axel Sandin Pellikki, a great young player. Marco Kasper is struggling this year, but has 40 points in 107 games played. He was decent last year. He's just 21 years old. He's a really solid player. Would he be potentially in a package? We have Simon Evanson, a really, really big, strong player, defenseman. He has the 9 points. Would Detroit be interested in trading him? And also Nate Danielson, the guy who two-way center. Like the Detroit Red Wings can have a ton of real interesting options if they wanted to go out and potentially trade for Quinn Hughes. The big question there is it going to be at the beginning right now before the deadline, or is it going to be potentially in the offseason? Now, as for Kiefer Sherwood, this is Michael Russo this morning as well. The Wild have shown significant interest in him. The Canucks originally asked for a good young prospect in return, and the Wild originally offered one, although unclear which prospect. Canucks have since increased the offer to a good roster player and also a first-round pick. Can't see the Wild trading Rossi for a Sherwood. Canucks turned down a draft day trade that was Rossi for 15th overall, Aatu and Shilovs. Whoa, that he confirmed that the Canucks turned down a draft day trade for Rossi for the 5th. So that's Coots. That's who turned into Coots. Ratu, who's having a real good season for us, and Shilovs, who's been really good for the Penguins. But if you told most Canucks fans at the time, before we drafted Coots, that that's what it would have taken for getting Rossi, oh, that's a real fascinating tidbit there. As for Sherwood, the fact that the Canucks increased the offer, now Sherwood's production has stopped, but his play hasn't. He's still been very, very good. So getting, me personally, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I want to either get a first-round draft pick or 2 second-rounders. I think that's more than fair. Next up, give some love to Don and Dolly. Rick Dhaliwal with the update on Quinn Hughes on the Czech TV. So Quinn Hughes doesn't see Hughes referring to Tom Fitzgerald as Fitzy as a big deal. The memo was an opportunity for teams to ask about him. One team said that the Canucks are definitely listening on Hughes, but it is so they can gauge the market in case they have to trade him at a later date. That team doesn't think that Hughes is available right now. So that's actually pretty interesting. So there's a team out there that thinks that, especially considering just there's so much noise with Quinn Hughes, that, you know what, maybe the Canucks are not interested in trading him right now. Maybe they're just, all they're doing is just getting as much information as possible moving forward, which is what they should be doing 100%, regardless if they trade him or not. So that makes a lot of sense. It's just common sense. Canucks would love to acquire Nico Hischier from the Devils, but doesn't see the Devils parting with him. Hischier's contract ends at the same time as Hughes. I would be stunned if the Vancouver Canucks can get a guy like Nico Hischier in that trade. I just don't see the Devils going out and trading Nico Hischier to anybody, let alone Vancouver. But if there is a player that would make the most sense to get, is probably a guy like Quinn Hughes who can play with his brothers and all that. But they also have center injury problems. Jack Hughes is still hurt. I just don't see that working whatsoever. Keep an eye on the Philadelphia Flyers because of the relationship between Hughes and Rick Tocchet as well. Whenever Rick Dhaliwal says keep an eye on, you know, I'm telling you, man, he knows there's more, like, especially with Elliotte Friedman. Like, even Elliotte today, this morning, he's like, you know what? That's all I'm going to say for now, you know, or something like that. Like, you know, there's more to this behind the scenes that meets the eye. I just hope, like, we get proper value if we go out and trade Quinn, because it's already painful enough as it is that Quinn Hughes is getting traded. Let's just hope they at least get a minimum of 3 premium assets if it's before the deadline, or 2.5 by the offseason. Just like, you gotta get something. I still think Detroit Red Wings make the most sense. They have just so many good young players that would make sense. But what do you guys think? A second news video. There's just so much to talk about here. So that's your rumor report here of the day. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like, drop a sub. Go check out all the videos we made today. There's quite a bit, and there's more coming up. I did a tier list as well with my man Corey as well. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.